All right, so today we're going to dive into a really powerful set of ideas from a 1980 sermon called Searching After True Parents. It asks some huge questions, like what are we really proud of? And what's the one thing in life that has permanent, unchanging value? So let's unpack its framework for value, purpose, and what it calls true love. So here's our game plan for breaking this all down. We're going to start by kind of challenging our own sense of pride. And then we'll uncover what the sermon calls our one eternal job. After that, we'll get right to the heart of it, defining true love, seeing how that creates a blueprint for the family, and finally, looking at the call for revolution that's based on these very principles. Okay, first up, a question of pride. The sermon really kicks off by challenging our most common ideas about our own self-worth. It pushes us to look past all the usual trophies and achievements to find something, well, something more real. The whole entire argument really begins with this one single powerful question. It's designed to just make you stop for a second and think about what you consider to be your most valuable assets. And of course, the sermon quickly points out the usual suspects. We take pride in how we look, our education, our job title, but then it hits you with a pretty challenging question. Can we really claim any of these things as truly our own? And this is where it gets really interesting. The core argument is this. Your appearance? That's inherited from your parents. It's a product of your entire family history. Your knowledge? That comes from teachers. The point the sermon is making is that the self isn't some independent creation, but a historical consequence. It's the result of efforts and legacies that go way, way back. So that leads us right into the second part, which gives us the sermon's answer to that big opening question. It draws a really sharp line between what's temporary and what it says is truly permanent. And this slide just lays it out so clearly, right? On one side, you've got these temporary sources of pride, things like careers and appearance that, fade over time. But on the other side, the sermon argues, is the one eternal role we can have, the role of a parent. It presents parental love as the single, truly permanent value in our lives. It's this constant concern for a child's well-being that's presented as a totally unique and unchanging quality. It's described as a universal truth, a common thread that you can find in any culture, in any era. And to really drive this home, the text uses a pretty stark example. It argues that even someone who lives a terrible life will still try to give the most saintly advice to their own child. This is used to frame parental love as maybe the purest, most reliable relationship we can ever experience. Okay, so we've established parental love as this highest value. But this next section really digs into what the sermon actually means by true love. So what in the world is true love? Well, according to the sermon, the definition is actually pretty simple. It's love that is unchanging, priceless, and something you just can't trade for anything else. The word true here is meant to signify something that's permanent and invaluable, like real gold that never tarnishes. What's wild is how this love is described. It has these incredible, almost paradoxical qualities. It's the softest and most harmonious thing, but at the same time, it's the hardest and most unbreakable. It's this constant force that isn't really affected by external hardships, kind of like how the seasons change, but the core of the earth remains. To make this idea a little less abstract, the sermon uses a great analogy. It suggests that we're basically like radios, and God is a broadcasting station that's constantly sending out the signal of love. Our job is just to find the right frequency and tune ourselves in. All right, so let's see how all of this comes together to build a practical model for life where the family unit actually becomes the blueprint for all of society. So the sermon lays out this ideal life path that follows a really clear progression. Each stage builds on the one before it. Being a good, pious child teaches you how to be an exemplary spouse. That experience prepares you to become a true parent. And from there, you learn how to love your country and all of humanity. So the family isn't just seen as this private little bubble. The way this sermon sees it, it's the essential training ground. It's like a workshop where you learn the skills of love that you can then take and apply on a much larger scale to your community, your nation, and the whole world. This one quote really captures the heart of the whole idea. The ideal world, what's called the heavenly society, isn't some strange, foreign concept. It's simply the principles of a loving family expanded out to include everyone. And all of this builds up to the sermon's powerful conclusion, a real call to action based on all the principles we've just been talking about. The argument is basically that modern society has gotten confused, that we're prioritizing all these temporary values over the eternal ones. And the proposed solution? A revolution of love, a profound shift back to what it identifies as the core values of family and parental love. And this brings us right to the ultimate takeaway. The sermon suggests that the parent-child bond isn't just a nice social structure, it is the central organizing truth of the entire universe. It's the axis that everything else revolves around. And so the sermon leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. It takes a relationship that we all know so intimately and reframes it as a cosmic principle, challenging us to really consider its true weight and meaning in our own lives.